Hey, everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's TLC Tuesday, and that means we're going to talk about 90 Day Fiance. We're also going to talk about the Baldwins. That's another episode. But hey, if you're listening on Tuesday, that means you've made it through Monday. So congratulations on that. But I want to
Good for
let you know
you. Good for
look
you.
at us. You've made it one day through the week.
Yes.
It's Tuesday, and I will be, when you're hearing this, I'll be in Chicago for Podcast Movement. And on Wednesday night, I'm going to be at Amy Phillips' live show. You can go to Amy Phillips' Instagram or ours, I believe it's there. And she's doing a show. And I will be there. Jake and Matt will be there. We've been assigned our characters and costumes, and I've never worn a wig. It's my first time.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm
Yes.
so excited.
Yeah. So, yeah,
This is what the world needs right now.
yeah. Well, me in a wig, I don't know. But
What is the wig?
it's just a brown wig, but if I tell you what the wig is, it'll give away the costume. So,
Okay.
but it's brown hair, which
I think you would look nice with brown hair
well, I'll
and make
send you
your
the
eyes
picture.
really pop.
Maybe we'll see. I put it on, sent the picture to Ingrid, and she wrote back, no. So she didn't like it. So you'll have to know what the skit is. I don't want to ruin it for people that are going, but I'll tell you afterwards. And anyway, guys, on this Thursday, normally I have a Pop and Bravo episode, but this Thursday will be 2 episodes of The Baldwins, episode 2 and 3 on the free feed. That's right,
Ooh.
because you see what
That
you're
was when
missing
we were really in
in
our
it.
shame spiral of
Uh-huh.
liking the show. It was
Mhm.
before we really embraced an "F we like the show" attitude.
That's right. And now we're like, you know what? Everybody else is wrong and we're right.
Mhm.
That's right. So that's what you're going to get on Thursday. So when you see that on Thursday, don't be confused. It is there. That is what it is because I'm going to be out of town. And also to lean into Kimberly's theory that I go out of town a lot between
I
now
didn't say anything. I didn't say a word.
between now and the beginning of May, I'm going on 5 trips in a month.
See,
It,
that's not what most people do.
it's terrible. It's actually just not. It's just how it worked out, and it's not great. It's very
That
stressful
was
for
our
me.
biggest fight when I said that and you were like, got mildly offended.
Yeah, and at that
Like
time,
when
you were
you
not
said we have
correct.
too many commercials in our podcast and I got mildly offended.
You don't have too many commercials in your podcast. You just do the thing that our guy wishes I would do, which is talk them in.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I feel tricked by it.
Yeah.
But you're not the only one. Sometimes other people
I
trick me
know.
too.
I
But I
know.
like to listen on the free feed so that you get credit for that download. Although I guess it doesn't matter if I'm subscribed, but I don't know.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I'm always trying to like, whatever. So yeah, I've got 5 trips coming up. I'm doing this week, I'll be in Chicago for work. And then I come back Thursday night. Friday morning after I record with Amy, we're gonna hop in the car and drive to Bald Head because there's something there that we're looking at.
Oh
And
boy.
then just for 2 days, come right back. It's fun. That'll be fun in the car with the dogs. That'll be fun. It's gonna be terrible. Then we'll get back
It'd be like being trapped in a car with Jordan and Mina going to
and
Bald
the
Head
baby
Island.
and no car seat.
Yeah.
And 3 Baldwin pooping dogs. So that's what it would be like. Then I get back, and then Thursday to that Sunday, I'm going to the Dead shows in Vegas.
Oh.
No, I take that back. The weekend so sorry, so sorry. Bald Head, then Mississippi for my son's parents' weekend, then Vegas, then Paris,
I, I
then Puerto Rico.
what is your life? Are
This is
you
not good.
in a throuple that you have different people all over that you different families all over the globe?
This is not good, and the amount of thinking I have to do about different climates and weather and what to pack. So I'm going to enjoy my time in Chicago with my podcast friends and just sort of take it easy and probably fire up the old spreadsheets and start spreadsheeting
Mhm.
out what I need to do when because the recording schedule is off like it's
Yeah.
and that
How are
affects
you
you.
gonna do that? Yeah. Oh, it does affect me.
hmm The only place I really can't record is Paris. Everything else I can just take my travel stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Good luck to me. Good luck.
Almost like I'm going.
It's almost like you're going. I'll take my little tiny mini laptop. So Dave came upstairs a minute ago. I was sitting on the bed, was giving myself a minute, trying to think about what to pack for Chicago, and I forgot I hadn't watched Yellow Jackets. So I put it on and had the iPad sitting up. And he walks in and he goes, "I didn't know you were in here." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What are you doing?" And I was just kind of like pausing and looking at him like, obviously I'm watching something. He goes,
Yeah.
"Are you taping right now?" I go, "No, I just want you to be quiet so I can watch Yellow Jackets." Have you watched 5 and 6?
Yes, I have.
The
We were
one
gonna
from this
record tonight. We were gonna
Yeah.
go live on YouTube tonight, and there's just too much going on. I couldn't do it.
Okay, so you watched the latest episode that just came out last Friday.
Yes. Wow. That ending.
Made no sense.
No, I was like, "Is this a dream?"
Why did she do that? Why did Shauna do that at the end of episode 6? Why? Why did she do
The
that? Why?
I is
That was
she just
weird.
lost that was I'm scared.
I didn't like it at all.
I hated it.
I didn't
I
like it.
just am so I'm overwhelmed. I'm verklempt. Just don't know what to do with myself.
It really picked up around episode 4. It really picked
Episodes
it.
it really did, and it's like the whole show is a fever dream now. So you just
Yeah.
never know what's going
And they
on. They
keep
even
saying they keep saying, "Is this real?" They keep saying that to
Yeah.
each other because of, like, the
Mhm.
possible rescue, the possible this. They keep saying, "Is this real?" And you're
Yeah.
like, "Is it real?"
Is it are we real? That's what I
Yeah.
go deep, like, is any of this real? Is my life real? Am I really recording with Mary Payne right now?
Why
It
am I on
really
this
is
earth? Yeah.
why am I here? It's a mind effort, and I feel like the whole show is gaslighting us, and I don't appreciate it.
I feel that way
And if
too.
you don't know what we're talking about, go
Get
watch
over to you.
Yellow Jackets. Start at the beginning, start at
Yes.
the 1st season. 1st
Mhm.
season is excellent, like, one of the best seasons of a TV show.
I
It's
agree.
great.
Couldn't agree more.
Um, and then 2nd season, you just gotta get through. And then
Yeah.
3rd season, wow,
You think it's slow and corny and slapsticky, and then episode 4 happens, and you're like, "Holy cow."
holy cow,
Okay.
what
Well,
is life?
we're not here to talk about that, but we
No.
could. Again, and they can't even get mad at us, because we talked too long. But we're here to talk about 90 Day Fiancé, season 11, episode 7, The Price of Love. So, we're gonna start with Mark and Mina. They finally arrive on Bald Head Island, by the way,
Were you
and
so excited?
I was. Screenshot the couple, Rich and Christy, maybe, I can't remember. Screenshot them, sent it to my realtor, and said, "Do we know these people? What can we
Yeah,
find out? Can I meet
yeah.
them when I'm there in a week and a half?"
Uh-huh.
She wrote back,
Well, Mina
she wrote
Mina
back and
likes the house.
yeah, oh, yes, she did. She wrote back and said, "Okay, I don't know the girl, but I mean, only like 100 people live on the island full time, so it's weird that she wouldn't know the wife." But she goes, "But the husband, I know. He owns a landscaping company on the island, and she says they must not live on the island full time, or we would know them. He must own a landscaping company on the island. They must go back and forth. But the husband, she goes, he went to undergrad with Suzanne, my realtor's husband. She was like, so yes, I know them. I was like, all right, get on it, get the scoop, report back.
Yes,
Yeah, she said
please.
she would.
Is
She
it
said she would.
all real? Is it fake? I need to know.
Well, when I'm on the island next weekend, I will be riding around my golf cart looking for them.
You're gonna be full on JB Fletcher, Murder, She Wrote, or more like Harry the Spy walking around with
Mm,
a little notepad
mhm.
asking questions.
Yeah. Speaking of Harry the Spy, you're looking really cute with your little bun buns today.
Oh, thanks. I'm pulling a Hilaria. If she
Yeah.
can pull it off while having a very serious conversation about the death of a lady, I can try to talk about 90 Day like this. I feel a little silly. I feel too old. I feel
I
like
think
it
it's
makes my
cute.
forehead looks really big.
I
Which
think
I've
it's
never
really
been self-conscious
cute.
about my forehead, but
Well, I
here
think
I
that you
am.
look like, especially with those headphones on, you look like a real teeny bopper.
Thank you. That was what I was going for. They're
Did you
just
know that
really
on,
comfortable.
is it comfortable?
These are just so comfortable. I
Oh,
love
your headphones. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I thought you meant your bun buns. I was like, is it comfortable?
Well, I feel kind of free. Like, I wear buns a lot because my hair is gross right now, but,
Uh-huh.
I feel free. Like, it's all contained.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Did you see the guy on Love After Lockup that had the bun buns that looked like he had on a Mickey Mouse hat?
No, I'm behind on Love After Lockup. I'm so excited now.
It's Kiana and Demadrick's mugshot that they keep showing looks like he has one of those old school Mickey Mouse hats, like the black hat with the black ears, like that Annette Funicello would wear. That's what it looks like. That is his mugshot. It looks like he is wearing Mickey Mouse ears, and it's buns, but it looks so bad in the mugshot that we were like, "Oh my god!" And then he comes out of prison with those buns, and you're like, "Did you
That's
have
his
him for?"
signature look.
Yeah, did you have him for 6 years? Um, he's real cute too, real cute.
The old wives' tale, you're supposed to, like, make sure you're wearing clean underwear in case you get into a car
Mm,
accident or
yeah.
something.
Mhm,
It's These people should be concerned, what do you look like on a day-to-day basis because you could get arrested at any time for drugs. So,
mhm.
you always have to look presentable so that your mugshot doesn't suck and we make fun of it. Or as Katie calls it, a prison headshot. Strike a pose.
Because some people get really good ones, but, like
Some people look like remember that hot guy who was, like, became a model after,
yeah, hot
and because
felon.
his photo went viral?
Yeah,
Hot
yeah,
hot felon.
yeah.
But then there are ones on Dateline where it's like, "Oh, you look like a goblin. You look like a" or, like,
Goblin.
mascara just running down your face, and it's
Yeah, yeah. We've seen quite a few on our television programs, Dateline
yeah,
including Dateline. Okay,
very
let's get into it,
unfortunate.
let's get into it. Season 11,
Okay.
episode 7, The Price of Love, Mark and Mina, let's go.
Okay, so they're gonna go meet the rest of the family on Bald Head, and Mark is wearing a Hawaiian print shirt, which just doesn't look right on him. I don't know why. I just
Mm-mm.
didn't suit him. Mina is bringing her sourest attitude and nothing else for the family. No flowers, nothing. Maybe they should bring her flowers, I guess. She's the visitor.
That's true.
So they are waiting for the ferry. Jordan and long-suffering fiance Gabe walk up, and everyone is faking, like, their most tepid smiles, like,
Uh-huh.
"Hi, hi." So Jordan feels like Mina should be the one to try harder because she's marrying my dad.
Yeah, I've
Where's
seen
the
people on
logic in
social
that?
media defending herself.
She is.
She's like, "This was shot a long time ago, and just remember, it's for television," and,
So
you know,
they were faking it, or they get
just
along now.
I
They
think it's
weren't
more like we
faking it,
get
they get
a
along now.
I think so, yeah, or they were told
But
to make
why
it worse, I don't know.
Why does Mina have to try harder? Because she's marrying your dad. Like, your dad is the prize here. And, like, your dad is the
Sure.
bachelor, and Mina is one of the chicks competing for the bachelor and has to be, like, on her best behavior all the time and kiss up to the family. I don't think so.
Mhm.
So, the ferry ride is awkward as hell, and they're just ignoring each other and sitting back to back, and it's just horrible. And then Jordan says to Mina pretty nicely, I want to clear the air, and this is a family weekend, and I would love to spend time with Maria, who is my sister, who I have barely looked at since I've met her, and I look at her like she's about to steal my inheritance, and I don't have any interest in that baby. But I'm gonna pretend I do.
Mm.
And Mina says, "Okay, that sounds good. I know it's important to Mark that we all get along. Let's try again." And Jordan says, "Yeah, let's take it day by day, like we are alcoholics." That's what I'm
Mhm.
comparing this relationship to. And so then Jordan shakes the baby's hand. She's like, "Okay, and I'm gonna get along with my new sister and welcome her to the family." Like, "Hi, baby." Shakes the baby's hand.
I did not
She has
see that.
no warmth towards us. She takes the baby's hand and is like, "Hello,
The
hi,
baby's like,
baby."
"Are we shaking hands? I'm only
Y
1." Yeah.
Right. Are we business people?
Mm.
Like, I this is how awkward I am with children, but, like,
Oh,
also, this child is not my family, like, my new sister.
right.
She's never like, she has no interest in, like, picking up the baby or, like,
No.
anything like that.
No, 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 no.
No
She doesn't
interest.
wanna babysit. She doesn't wanna be like,
No.
"She's so cute. I'm so happy." None of that. No.
None of
Mm-mm.
that.
Mm-mm.
So they get on the island, and Mark and Mina and Maria are riding on the golf cart, and the music was all wacky for a second, like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo," like something funny's gonna happen, like he's gonna crash or something, and it's gonna be all it's like quirky music, and
Yeah?
then nothing happens. He totally drives like normally, no accidents, no,
I
like,
guess it's supposed to be,
funny
like, silly because 'cause they're on a golf cart?
I guess.
Okay.
But, like, I was expecting, like, a chicken to we could walk or they have to stop for a chicken or something. I don't know. So, it's just I don't know what happens on Baltud Island.
So
Like, just our
chickens.
no, an
No.
alligator walks across the
Could
road or
be. No,
something, like
that could happen, yes. Yeah.
so Mina says, they're driving and Mina's like, "Where are Jordan and Gabe? Did they get what they got off that ferry so quickly?" So she immediately goes to Jordan was rushing to get to the family first so she can badmouth me, and then we're gonna arrive,
Yeah.
which I thought is super paranoid, and then that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Um,
So,
that I didn't think as paranoid. I was like, "Oh, that's what I would have thought too." Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
it's
And that's
exactly
what I
what
would have
happened.
done if I was Jordan. I wanna get there first. Yeah.
So, they are talking about, like, how there's snakes and alligators on the island, and then Mark's like, "Speaking of snakes, maybe don't call my daughter one, because in English, that's not really a nice word, but maybe in French, it doesn't sound that bad, but here it sounds bad," and I was like, "She knows it sounds bad. That's why she's using it."
Yeah, I don't think in any language calling
In
somebody a
any
snake is gonna sound like
No,
a polite term. Yeah.
no. So they get there, and Jordan is clearly talking about her because Jordan's like, "Oh, they're here. They're pulling up. Oh gosh." And then Mark's mom is like, "Okay, let's do this." Like they're all gearing up like it's going to be horrible.
I guess Mark is the oldest brother because his brother Rich looked quite a bit younger, and the parents looked kinda young. I mean, the mom looked
They look
young.
they look the same age as Mark.
The mom looked the same age as Mark.
Yeah, I was very
Really.
confused.
I thought it was gonna be his sister.
Yeah.
It's his mom.
I totally thought it was his sister. Yeah. So, then the whole rest of their scenes are like one of those movies where you're seeing a murder from everybody's different perspective, and it's
Uh-huh.
all you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And we, like, have to piece together who what's that movie called? Rochambeau? No, that's not right. That's the thing where
Knives
you go like
Out?
this.
Knives Out?
No, it's that movie. It's an old black and white, like, Japanese or something
Oh, then
movie,
no,
and
I
it's
have no
like
idea.
and it's like you see it from everybody's perspective. Someone's yelling at me right now because they know what it is, and it's
It'll
very
come to you in the
frustrating.
next 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's all about the baptism or with the christening,
Yes.
whatever, the weekend in Paris that
Yeah.
was terrible for some, and Mark thinks it went great.
Mhm.
So Mark's mom says the first night was amazing, and we were at Mina's apartment, and she fixed us a huge meal, and we were all hanging out, and we left feeling so great.
Yeah.
But then the next day, she was very late for the thing, and so that wasn't great.
1 to 12 hours late, it's hard to tell. Yeah.
Hard to tell.
Mhm.
Now, I was on Reddit and somebody was, like, hardcore yelling at all of us for being not us specifically, but everyone who thought that that was rude, and reminded us that in certain cultures, like African cultures especially, it's, like, very common to show up 1 to 4 hours late, and for the bride to be getting ready, although she wasn't the bride, it wasn't her wedding, it was a christening, but, like,
Right.
very common for events to start much later, and if that's the case, that's very rude to Americans. So, someone should have communicated to someone that this is, like, maybe a cultural thing. I
Right.
don't
I
know.
mean, I'm
Although Mina is
financially, I'm like
Parisian, but I don't know, like, her family hails from or where she was born. I don't know any of
yeah,
that.
I don't know,
But culturally,
culturally, I'm just trying to think like, okay, so you have a space for this big event and it's gonna be from 1 to 4, but then the main event doesn't start till 4, but now it's over. Didn't you just pay to have it from 1 to 4? Or
right.
because they know everybody's gonna be late, they start at 1 and you get it all night whether you want it or not? Like, I don't
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to figure out, but whatever.
I
We'll
don't know.
never
Or do
we'll
people just I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't yeah,
Um,
that I don't get, and I don't know, I just think in general it's rude to make people wait that long. I mean, 1 hour I
I
could be like,
know.
"Alright," but like 4 hours, no.
And that's in our culture, it totally is. But
Yeah.
in, like, other cultures, it's not as rude. It's, like, pretty common. Like, Paola was so late for her baby shower thing,
Yeah,
which
that's
was
right.
kinda rude still because they were all at the house and wait
Waiting.
anyway, cultural thing, and it wasn't communicated, and no one has explained this since then,
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
Mina could explain that's really common for us, and I'm really
She could say, "I didn't know that it was."
sorry.
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't know
sorry.
that you guys would think it was so weird."
Yeah.
So, Mark's brother is being nice. They go into the house, which is very nice, and Mina loves the house, and she because his house Mark's house is wood paneled and, like, old and looks like it smells a little musty,
Uh-huh.
and so Mark is teasing, Mark's brother is teasing him about his, like, old fogey clothes and decor and stuff like that because he's from a younger generation than his brother.
I like how
So
he was like, "Mina, have you fixed his clothes yet?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm
yeah,
trying."
I'm
Yeah.
trying. So it looks like it could be great, but then it pans over to the sister-in-law and she has grumpy face and she says she did not like Mina in Paris. The first night she cooked for them, but they never felt really welcome and she was so late for the baptism. And apparently she had taken the time to tell her friends that it was gonna start late, but she
Right,
hadn't told Mark's family that it was gonna start late, so they
right.
were all waiting. So we're getting a new layer of the onion about this
Mhm.
baptism with each person that we meet.
Like the
So
movie, right.
yes, like the movie.
Mhm.
So Mark's brother and Mark talk about the Jordan issue, and Mark is like, "I thought the weekend was great. I'm still so confused. I thought it was the best weekend ever." And the brother's like, "No, it was not good, Mark. You're an idiot." She entered the event very late, and she came in like a princess, and it was very off-putting, and then she didn't even talk to us that much, and you should have told her as the man, be like, "Hurry up, my entire family's waiting,
Right. Yeah.
hurry up," and the brother says, "I'm supporting Jordan on whatever, like, I'm on team Jordan," and so Mark is like, "God, everyone is not against me on this." So and then again, the brother says the first night she was great. She was really easygoing. She cooked for them. And the next morning, it was the opposite. She was off-putting and like distant, and it was very weird. And
She
we
was
were all shocked.
she was getting into her glam
Yeah.
mindset. Yeah.
So, or did Mark accidentally say something between the first night and the second night because he keeps putting his foot in his mouth? Like, did he
Mm.
make some comment that made her really mad? Because she has like a hair trigger a bit if like she gets moody pretty fast.
Yeah.
So,
He coulda said, "Oh, yeah, Jordan, and Jack," whatever the son's name is, "are glad to be here." Like, "Oh, they don't love escargot, but they were so happy you cooked for
right,
them." And then she's like,
right.
"Oh, you stupid, don't like escargot."
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah,
Totally.
he coulda said, "Oh, it was so nice for you to cook for us. Your place is a little tight for all of us in there, but man, we had a
Right.
great time." And then she's like,
Yep.
"How dare you?" Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably is pretty
Uh,
tight if we had his 2 kids, his mom and dad, and his brother and his sister. That's like 6 extra
that's
people.
yeah,
It's
that's a lot.
tight.
Yeah.
Tight.
So then the brother says to Mark, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to anyway because we're on TV.
Mm.
We booked the tickets for the wedding refundable just in case because we don't think that your relationship is going to make it.
That's rude.
Why would you tell him that?
Yeah, yeah, you shouldn't have told him that. You keep that to yourself. Inside thoughts. Inside
Yeah.
thoughts. Yeah.
So they're all hanging out, and Mark says, "Hey, did you get the Evites for the wedding?" And I was like, "Oh, he's using Evites for the
Oh,
wedding?
saving
Okay.
that saving money. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, that's fine. Down with that. It's better for the environment. Sure. I didn't think Mina would be okay with it, but whatever. So they're all joking because Mark's brother is like, "Yeah, yeah, you can see everyone's responses." And isn't that weird? And then Jordan's like, "Okay, you're such an old man. Everyone can see the responses. That's how Evites work."
Right.
And he's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I get it. It's like email." Like even though he's young, he's has old man energy.
Yeah.
So, and then the dad's like, "Can I bring anything?" And Mark says, "You could bring a bag of cash because it's gonna be expensive, Dad." Ha ha. And they're all laughing and having fun for like 15 seconds. And then Jordan turns to her dad and goes, "Hey, are you doing the prenup?" And it like all stops. No
Yeah.
one's smiling anymore. What the F is wrong with her? And she is making good TV. And Mark is like, yeah, yeah, we're gonna do that." And Jordan says, "You don't sound sure." And he says, "Well, it's kind of a weird time to bring it up, Jordan, in front of
Yeah.
everybody."
Yeah. Yeah.
And the mom says, "Well, if you don't do it, she's got you nailed." And I was like, "Mom?"
That is
And so
rude
then
too.
Mina is like, "Is this really happening? Are we all talking about this?" She's like, "Do you think I'm here for your money, Mark? You too think that? Like, I get that these people think it, but do you think it too?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, I just think it's just paperwork. I think it's just common for our age difference to do something like this." And
Mhm.
she's like, "I'm not here for your money." And, and he says, "Well, I'll always take care of you, but this is about stuff that, like, I had before we met." And,
The
Mina
whole
walks
family,
away.
in front of the whole family.
Whole family, they're having
Yeah.
this discussion, and Mina goes, "I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't." And she starts crying and walks
Mm.
away, and Jordan is shaking her head like, "Look how horrible this French lady is." And it's like, "No, you're horrible. What is happening?"
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Mina walks away and she's like, "Mark never told me about this document. I think this is, like, disgusting. I don't wanna
He's
it's
never
sad
mentioned
that
this
he."
to her before?
That's what she says, and she says, "I think it's sad that he thinks we need it, and did this happen in front of the whole family?" And Jordan says to Mark, "Dad, you said that you already talked to her about it." And Mark says, "Oh, I did. Maybe she just doesn't remember. She didn't understand. Maybe there's, like, a language barrier or something." I think just because everyone is here talking about it, it's like, and Jordan goes, "It's confusing." And I was like, "No, you bitch. She understands English.
Right.
It is not confusing to her. It's humiliating that
Yes.
it got brought up in front of the entire family, and it
Yes.
makes her look like a gold digger, and it's embarrassing, and it's a private situation, and she was completely caught off guard in the middle of a family barbecue."
Yep.
And that's why it's upsetting. It's not that she's confused. And it's all because of you, Jordan. And
Yeah.
so Mina is still crying and she's like, "I would never take something that's not mine. I don't want his money. That's not who I am." And she's crying. Mark stays with the family. He doesn't even go over to check on her.
Well, I think it's, if we're breaking the fourth wall, it's because the production is talking to her. So he's
Yes,
gonna
that's
wait for the production to quit talking, and then he'll go over there, maybe.
okay. I hope he goes over there.
But do you think I think probably they have sort of lightly talked about it in a paperwork sense, and she's like, "Sure, whatever, paperwork."
Yeah.
But probably when they're alone, he was gonna say to her like, "Hey, when we get this paperwork, one of the things we have to sign is this, and it is a prenuptial agreement, and it means this," and she's smart, and she could figure that out, but not in front of the whole that's airing your dirty laundry in front of the whole family.
So, and also the fact that Jordan tried to make peace on the ferry
Uh-huh.
and shook that baby's hand. I was and then 30 minutes later, blows the whole thing up. Like, you are a snake. That's what a snake does.
Yeah,
I
well
don't like this girl, and I hope it's all fake for TV because
well, she's out there in the on the internet's defending herself, so if I wouldn't have seen all of that, her defending herself, I'd probably feel differently, but because I feel like it's gonna resolve itself, I'm kinda like, "Meh, it's just for the show." But I think if I didn't
I
know
hope
all that, I
so.
would be like, "What's her problem, man?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let us move on to, Shawn and Alliya, and I found this to be an interesting, segment about them, regarding her dead name and all of that. I found that to be interesting. So
Also, I went
yes,
back because I
uh,
keep thinking I'm crazy, like,
yes,
about Stevie having children. She is
uh-huh,
a registered nurse. At least Shawn said she's a registered nurse.
Alliya,
Yeah, but they're never mentioning it again. I don't know if she's even practicing or whatever, but
right, and will she, like, renew her license, you know?
right, and but my vision of someone coding and she's twerking in front of them is still making me laugh.
Mine is still of her in, like, a sexy nurse's outfit with, like,
Yeah.
pulling the glove over her hand, like, "Come on for your exam." Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's so, like, hot and sexual. So,
Yeah.
Shawn is taking Aaliyah to drag bingo, which, I love bingo, and I think
Yeah.
drag bingo is for me. I think it'd be super fun.
It's very fun. I've been to
I
drag bingo.
love bingo. So they're going with his friend Angela. They go to Hamburger Mary's there in LA. And they're sitting in a talking head together, Shawn and Alliya, and she's like, "Bingo, this is a thing and this that people do in the United States." And he goes, "Well, yeah, it's fun." He goes, "But the gays love bingo." And she goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because you say things like, oh 69, and the gays love that." And she goes, "Why? I don't understand." And he goes, "Well, you have to think about it." She goes, "Huh. Oh, that's a mess." I love all of her sort of innocent
Yeah.
things that she says, like, "What?" She's
Yeah.
so it's so funny to me because she's so, like you said, like, with the twerking and the sexiness, and then she's like, "What?" She's, like, so
Uh-huh.
shocked by everything.
Yeah.
So, they sit down together and, Aaliyah is saying, "Okay, so, you know about me and stuff." And she says, "Yes." So in the talking head, Angela says, I've heard about this relationship between Shawn and Aaliyah, just in little blips. Like, I'm dating this person, Douglas, then I'm going more to see Douglas, and then maybe Douglas is transitioning into Aaliyah. I just heard about it in blips, but she definitely doesn't know the whole story. So they decide they're going to go outside to chat where it's not so loud. And so Angela is asking Leah, "How do you like it here?" And she's like, "Oh, I've been here one day." He's like, "Literally 30 hours she's been here." I was like, "Well, they just jumped right into that filming,
Yeah,
you
they
know?"
did.
And yeah, they have 3 months to be together and decide if at the end of the 90 days they're going to get married. And Angela's like, "Yikes. Like, that's a lot of pressure. Like, just 3 months. Wow." So Aaliyah says, "Yeah, and I don't actually know because I haven't met his friends or his family yet. And I don't even know what he told them. So, like, what did he tell you about me?" And Angela says, "Well, I knew about Douglas and that he was visiting Douglas and that he would go to Brazil to be with Douglas and go on these other trips with Douglas." And so Aaliyah's just like staring, like, okay. And the talking head, Aaliyah says, "I don't use my dead name anymore." And we see the ceremony where she burns, the thing with the name and
Mhm.
the picture and stuff. And she says, "And for the other person to use it, it may be normal to them, but for me, it's hurtful. It reminds me of
Mhm.
the past, and I don't want to be reminded of that." So Angela says, "Yeah, and like 6 months ago, Sean told me that like Aaliyah was here now full time, and it's kind of hard to wrap my head around that." And Sean goes, "Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around this person change because it did to me feel like a death." And Angela asked Aaliyah, "Did you mourn it too? Did you mourn Douglas?" And Aaliyah just smiles and goes, "No, Douglas is not around anymore."
I thought I loved that. The way she was smiling made me feel like she was talking about a ghost. And it was like an exorcism. Douglas isn't here anymore.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye bye. And and then Angela says, in my opinion, a little condescendingly, Angela goes, "Well, yeah, but Douglas was."
No, it was very condescending.
Why are you explaining this to Aaliyah? Aaliyah knows that
She
Douglas
knows
was
it was her life.
her life.
Like,
Yeah.
she's aware.
So Aaliyah says in her talking head, she goes, I didn't want to be rude to correct Sean's friend. I felt frozen in that moment. And I wish that I know how to speak up in these moments. But really what I wish is that Sean would stand up for me to say, don't use that name. And I do worry that he's not accepting of me as Aaliyah, which is like a big, theme that we're getting here. So they're standing there and he says, "You want to walk home?" And she goes, "No, I don't want to. Let's just get a car." And I think she's just like, "I've been here 30 hours and I know you can call Uber. So you better
Mhm.
hit that button." So he's like,
Yeah.
boop on his phone. He said, "That's done." So they call the car and Aaliyah tells him, "I'm not happy about you guys constantly using my dead name. And both you and your friend did it a lot tonight." And he goes, "Right. But I think Angela was just trying to get the story, just trying to understand the story." And she's just like, "Mm." So they leave. All right.
I
Next,
was pissed. I was pissed.
I
Like,
was he's we're gonna get ahead where he's gonna understand more, but in that moment, he was very much like, "Well, what do you want me to do? She's trying to understand the story," you know?
it's if Angela doesn't understand, like, etiquette around trans people, okay, she has not been educated. That's surprising
Yeah,
that she doesn't, but okay. Sean should know better,
yeah,
and he should inform her.
Right.
politely and stand up for Alliya, because Alliya is in, again, this power dynamic. It's not her first language. She's
Yeah.
new to the country. She's exhausted. She's a lot younger. There's all these things, and she's a bit shy. So, like,
Yes.
even with her twerking and stuff, she is like shy. He's sitting right there. Stand
Yeah.
up for her and just explain in a nice way. We don't use that name anymore. That's
Yeah.
all you have to say.
Right. Right. I agree with all that. So, the next day, he's playing with the dog. It's so cute.
I don't know why
And
I'm yelling at you.
are you
I know you get it.
I didn't take it
I'm
that way.
so mad right now. In my space buns, I'm really mad.
It's hard
Despite
to
these, it's hard to take it seriously with these buns, right?
Yes,
But
it is. It is. It is.
I'm mad.
Um, so okay, so the next day he's playing with the dog Maxwell, and Aliyah is getting ready, and she's telling production, "I'm very bothered about still bothered the next morning about the constant use of my dead name, and I worry that the more I change and become myself, he is not accepting it as I'm changing." So they head out to go shop. He's putting the dog in his crate, and she goes, "Turn around. Your pants are split." She says, "They're open." He's like, "What?" So he's like, "Where?" So she goes, "They're open." And he goes, "I don't think so. Maybe from picking up the dog." And she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I don't care." They leave the house.
Oh, he's like, I don't care if my pants have split in the butt. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine. It's fine. He goes, "Maybe I'll find some pants. Let's go." So
No
they
one's
leave.
looking at me and going, "Hey, is that the Burger King guy?" No, I
The-
guess
They're like,
people look at him and
is
go,
that
"Is
her?
that the Burger King
Yeah,
guy?"
her granddad? So they go to Tags. This is a store. I can't tell if this is a store or if it's a consignment store or if it's Candy Burris's from Real Housewives of Atlanta used to have a store named Tags.
Hmm.
I didn't know. So he's showing her clothes. Like, what about this is a cute jacket? What about this? Oh, you could get a long skirt because she's trying to find something to keep her warmer. And as he keeps holding things up, she goes, "I don't need this opinion from you. The men's is the other side."
Yeah.
Which I loved. And he goes, "So I guess you're still annoyed about last night?" And she's like, "Mm-hmm." And he said, "Look, obviously Angela knows about Douglas." And she says, "Don't use that name." And he says, "Okay, what do you want me to say? I started talking to nothing, and then nothing said this, and then nothing said that." And he's being real snarky. Like, what am I supposed to say if I'm referring to you in the past, but not saying the word Douglas? So in the talking head, he says, "I'm not trying to be snarky, but she has to understand that without Douglas, there would be no Shawn and Alliya. And I'm not trying to upset her, but I'm not quite ready to pretend Douglas never existed." And so, in that, when he's explaining it that way, I do understand his predicament of, I only know Aliyah because I first knew Douglas, and he's trying very hard to. He doesn't want to just say everything with Douglas those 3 years didn't exist. This is like a
Mhm.
brand, and I can understand for anybody in this situation, it would be hard to sort of like wrap your brain around how to behave.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I get what he's saying. I don't. I think maybe he's not saying it as gently as
He's
he
not
could.
saying it right, and
Yeah.
he doesn't have to use the name,
Yes.
and there are other ways to go about this.
Yeah, and he needs to sort of, because he's the one in this situation with Aaliyah, the 2 of them or just him need to educate themselves around how to speak to make sure she continues to feel comfortable,
Comfortable.
you know? Yeah.
Also, last season, he went through this whole grieving process.
Yeah.
So, it's like you can't keep bringing it up
Yeah,
too.
right, right.
Like, we're trying to focus on the present now, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. So
I'm here to get married to you as
yeah,
Aaliyah.
so she
And
tells
you're
him
bringing up your ex. It sounds like he keeps bringing up an ex, you know? Like, he's still in the
yeah.
past.
Yeah, that's a good point, like bringing up an ex, you're right. So, she tells him Aaliyah tells him, "Look, if it happens in a moment when you were there, you could tell them not to say it." And he says, "Well, you can also say it and tell them it makes you feel uncomfortable." And she says, okay, you can tell me because I don't know." He says, "You could tell me because I didn't know that it made you feel so uncomfortable." And she says, and this annoyed me when she was like, "You should tell them." He goes, "You could also tell them." You've met a complete stranger and
Yeah.
they're calling, you're not gonna go, "Excuse me," and you're
No.
gonna turn that person off and make them think you're a bitch. So he's like,
Some
"You could."
people have that to can do that and
Yeah.
speak up for themselves. Some people can't or are still finding the ways to speak up for themselves.
She's brand
Oh,
new here. She
she's
doesn't have a
brand
friend
new
in the
here.
world.
Yeah.
Her only support is him. And he
And if
says, "Well, you."
she's not saying anything, you can do it for her and
Yeah. He says, "You
stand up
could just
for her.
tell me, and, and I didn't know how uncomfortable it made you." And she says, "Okay, I will." She says, "For now, I am enough, and we need to focus on the future and not for the past." And he says, "Okay." So the talking head, he says, "The problem in being with someone who's transitioning is I'm part of the problem because I'm part of the past. Pictures and videos and memories that are in my brain have to be forgotten and discarded. So am I forgotten and discarded?" And again, he is also making a good point. So it's that night or 4 days later, we never know. But Aaliyah's cooking in the kitchen. She's making them some dinner. And the talking head, Shawn, says, I did go through a period of mourning for Douglas, but there is an inner light to both of them that I was drawn to. We can have an argument, but it's not hateful. We can be quiet and we're comfortable. And all of those things are outside of the box of sex and gender, and also the joy of being older and knowing that feeling and appreciating it. And it's complicated, but I do know that this is an important life person, and I know that I want to do my life with this person. So I think he
Yeah.
explained it. It's the He's comfortable with this person for these reasons. It doesn't have anything to do with Douglas or
Whatever's
Leah's sex,
happening on the
gender. Yeah.
outside, like, the soul of the person is still the same.
Still feels the bond with the
They're just
person.
they're just a better, more comfortable, happier version of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're eating dinner outside, and he says, "I just want you to know that I'm not doing anything purposely to hurt your feelings, and there's change here, and I'm rolling with it, and I see you, and I love you, and I've made you something so you can see that I am in the present." And so we see what we saw last season with them, which was the adventure book, which was the Shawn and Douglas story, which was a book that Douglas made for Shawn about pictures of all their adventures when they were dating. And he says, those chapters in that book are finished. And so I have made you a book for our new adventure story. It's a new adventure book. And she immediately starts crying. And it says, like, the Shawn and Alliya story. And the first page is "A Star is Born." And it's
So
the first
cute.
picture of, I think, when she first put on all the drag for that parade they were in, where she was like, "Oh, I want to dress in drag."
Yeah.
And then that's when she told us on the last season, she said, "That's when I realized, like, this is who I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be a woman."
Mhm.
So, she hugs and kisses him. It's very sweet. It's very
It's so
sweet.
sweet.
And this is was such a great idea on his part too, because that book was so important to him, that picture
Mhm.
book, and he would look back at it. And she said, like, "I don't wanna look at that book anymore," even though she's the one that made it. So in the talking head, she says, "This made me feel embraced, and it's important, embraced and important to him. And this is the first time I've got confirmation that he's accepting and supportive, and he's really the person I love and I wanna get married with." And then we see, bow chicka bow wow, um, she comes out of the bathroom in, like, a little lingerie thing, and he goes, "Oh, you look so pretty." And she says, "You like it?" He says, "Yeah." And he, turns off the light and puts Maxwell in the other room, and we get kissing and slurping sound. So consummation is occurring.
It's occurring.
It's
I
occurring.
I don't know why I'm hopeful because we had that flash forward
We're definitely being
where
tricked. We're definitely
we're
being tricked,
being
Kimberly.
tricked. It's a very complicated situation, and I don't think any couple who's going through a transition and trying to stay together, there's always gonna be conflict and, like, things
Yeah.
to work out. So,
Hmm.
I just keep thinking of her saying she's not happy here, and I'm, so sad.
I
And
know, but I wonder if the wedding is actually gonna happen. She's just super late, and then he's
right.
telling her the next day, like, "I was standing up there
Yeah.
forever, and I thought you weren't gonna come, and I was so embarrassed. So, like, yes, we did get married, but let's talk about your behavior
Yeah.
because that was embarrassing to me," or whatever. Like, that's probably
Yeah.
what's gonna happen because, as we know, Matt Sharp gets us in all directions. He always gets
Yeah.
us.
If he
Uh,
brings up the past, though, one more time, it's gonna be like, "You it need to stop because are you into this person that is here now, or are
mhm,
you not?" And if
yeah,
not, like you said last time, he needs to let her go. Like,
yeah, sad. All right, let's move it on to Jessica and Juan.
We haven't had them, it feels like in forever.
Yeah.
So, Jessica and Juan and a huge tumbleweed that goes across their lawn. Did you see that?
Yes.
I was like, "Wow, tumbleweeds happen even in residential neighborhoods there."
Yeah,
That's how
they built it up from the
cow
cow
country it
patties, and
is.
they just come right
Yeah.
through, yeah.
So, it's just, like, down the street on the cement on the driveway. It was so strange.
How happy was the production guy? Was like, "Oh my god, go get
Yes,
it.
I
Run
got it.
out there with the camera."
I
Yes,
got the tumbleweed.
yes. Get the drone."
Or, like, they fully staged it and they had, like, a PA on the side, like, rolling the tumbleweed. "Let's go on the tumbleweed. We have B cam on the tumbleweed." So
And put the fan on it and go. And it just
ex
blows it down the street, yes. We're so jaded.
so I know. So, they, um they are sleeping and the kids wake them up by crawling into the bed, which is very cute. They love Juan. They're, like, jumping on Juan. But did you see the baby really does sleep with them, like, in between them on the bed? Is that normal?
Yeah, it's normal, a lot of people do it, it's called co-sleeping, but a lot of people do it with you have a thing that you can put in the bed that's sorta like, the bumpers that you get when you go bowling or whatever, like,
Right.
that'll or
Yeah.
people or they have, like, you have a co-sleeping crib that you can put right next to the bed so you can bring the baby in and out,
Yeah.
or when the baby gets big enough to have its own rolling over and all that, you can just put the baby in the bed like a person, but it's really not very safe, really
I
not.
was thinking, like, I know nothing about babies, so I was thinking about those big comforters and blankets,
Yeah,
like and then I was thinking about what if you just roll over
right.
onto the baby? Like,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I was concerned.
it could be the baby woke up crying in the middle of the night and she's like, "Oh god, just put the baby in the bed."
No,
You know?
because this is, like, the 3rd time they've mentioned that the baby sleeps with them, although there
The
is a crib in that room,
but it's
so
filled with clothes. So
oh, yeah, that's
that
true.
is another dresser. So, yeah, I listen, I didn't never do it with my kids unless I was, like, desperate and they kept me up all night or something, but I then literally slept with one eye open the entire night,
Right, right.
because I couldn't sleep because
Yeah,
I was like, "Dave's gonna roll over and squish the baby." Yeah.
yeah. So, the night before was this bar fight where the cheating came out with stupid I keep thinking her name is Emily, but Megan, right? The
Megan, because
friend
it's
that
Megin, Megan.
it's an I?
It's Megan with an I-N like Magen. It's Megan. Yeah.
What?
Yes, it is.
That
Mhm.
makes that's insane.
Yep, that's how you spell it.
Okay, I
I'm
don't
saying it
understand.
so confidently. I'm so confident what I'm saying, which
Megan
means that maybe
with
I'm
how
not.
did I miss that? That's crazy.
Now I feel like I have to look it up. Go ahead.
I've never seen an I in that name. Okay, so Jessica acts like everything is fine and does her word art that says live, laugh, love. She's gonna live, laugh, love, even though they're having a fight. And truly, madly, deeply have the whole family put on matching Christmas pajamas.
Yes.
And but they didn't even take a picture with them. Like I thought that was the point. You take the family picture with everybody dressed up like that.
Maybe they were going to.
So he says, "I thought your pajamas were gonna be sexier and with less reindeer." It's and she's like, "We
I'm
have
looking up
3"
people that she follows to see if there's anybody on here with a Megan with an I. Go ahead.
And so she's like, "We have 3 kids in the house. I can't be sexy." And he's like, "You could still be a sexy mama." Again, like, she's not she's pulling him into cow poop land away from a 24/7 party on a cruise.
Her name is Megan Elizabeth, Megin, Elizabeth. So when you look at her Instagram, it says Megan Elizabeth was all together. So it looks like Megine Lisbeth, um, dreamer, achiever, traveler, therapist, dog mom, and wife.
She's a
Megan.
therapist too.
Yeah, well, she said that's how they met.
And she's a wife, so she has her own person at home. She
She
needs to
sure does.
stop being involved in this relationship.
Her
It's not a throuple.
her profile picture is a wedding picture, so maybe it's recent.
Okay.
Megan.
So, good for you, Megan.
hmm
Happy for you. So, she's like, "I we have 3 kids in the house. It can't be sexy." And he's like, "Yeah, you can still be a sexy mama. Like, I did give up my whole life to come here. At least you
Right.
could
Yeah.
wear pajamas that are a tiny bit sexier sometimes." So,
Come on.
they walk well, and not have the baby in the bed. So because we didn't even know if they've had sex yet. We know they had, like, a snuggle session after they ate eggs and bananas.
Right, the eggs and bananas with the mushed down food on the plate, and then
Yeah,
they kicked the cameras out for 15 minutes. Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
So, they walk the kids over to their dad's house, because I guess they live in walking distance of the
yeah.
dad, and he lives in a way nicer house than Jessica. And
Lives in a big
even
lady's house.
Juan is like, "I wish I lived here. I gave up the boat to live in a small cabin on a boat to live in a smaller house, and look at this huge house. Can I go
Yeah,
live with the dad?"
yeah. Well, get a
And there's
job, and
no
then you'll have 2 incomes, and then maybe you can get a
yeah,
bigger house,
you can
Juan.
do it.
Yeah.
There's no word art anywhere at this house. So then they drop the kids off so now they can have their private talk about their secrets and cheating and Megan and all of that. So he says, "I know I hurt you, but I feel hurt too because you had your ex over." And she says, "Well, we were both struggling with the distance and the loneliness and the communication and all the buzzwords." And she tells us, "I developed feelings and I kind of understood where Juan was coming from with the loneliness, so that's why I forgave him for cheating, because
Mhm,
I had some emotional cheating."
mhm.
And then she's like to Juan, she's like, "But I didn't do what you did. What you did was still way worse."
He did bang somebody, and she did
He
just have
banged
somebody over to watch a movie, so, yeah.
Well, it depends, like, some people might think banging a stranger that you're never gonna see again is less of cheating than having an emotional feelings for your ex.
True, true,
I don't know
true.
where I fall on it, but people are gonna be on both sides on this,
Yeah, you're
and
right.
they're
You're
both
right.
not great.
You're right.
So, she says, "Here, it's a normal life, and you haven't lived a normal life, and I'm worried that you won't be happy with this normal, boring life with my word art, and the
Mhm,
children, and the eggs, and the bananas."
mhm.
And he says she's right, "I gave up my life on the boat," and we quick cut to him partying on the boat, like beer pong and jumping around with his
Yeah,
friends and, like, I mean, he was living the life of a single 20 something on a boat,
yeah,
partying with guests, and, like, he was a bartender or something, right?
yeah,
So
right,
he's like, that is a party lifestyle. It's not like he's a waiter. Like,
right.
he's has to schmooze with the guests and hang out with them and,
Yeah,
like, be the life of the party, and now he is living in poop country with
Poop Town.
tumbleweeds,
Mhm.
and so he doesn't know if he's gonna like it there, but he tells her, "I'm gonna like it here. I
When
think
they're
I'm
when they
gonna
were
like it here with the poop and the tumbleweeds."
when they're walking, he has his arm around her the whole time, which I felt
Yeah,
was nice, yeah.
it's very sweet. I just don't he's I think he's trying to do the right thing because they have a baby, and I think he loves her,
Yeah.
but I think the call of the uns, uns, uns on the club is going to draw to him, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
The call of the ocean is coming
Uh-huh.
for him,
The
yeah.
sea is
The
calling
call of
for
the
him,
sea.
yeah.
It would be great if he could do a job like that, but when you do those cruise contracts, you really are in them for, I
Yeah,
think, 2 years at a time, and you go home, like, halfway in the middle, and I think you get, like, a month, and then you come back, and you are really gone for, like, a year, then you have, like, a month, and you're gone for another year. Like, those are
yeah. The
contracts that you're in.
performers can get do shorter
Yes,
contracts, but it's
yes.
still like 4 months, 8 months,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there are bars in Poop Town, but I don't it's not the same vibe, and then he
Well, I
can't
mean,
flirt with
listen.
people that she knows in the same town,
No,
like,
you
that'll be
can't.
awkward.
Well, they went to that big place wherever they were, where they had that fight with Megan. That
Mhm.
was a big place. He could be a bartender there. He could be a waiter. He could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's opportunities for jobs there for him. I'm not worried. I feel very confident in their love. I don't know why, but I do.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah. Okay, let us move on to Shekinah and Sarper. And this is actually where the show ended, but because of the way our notes are going, we're not ending with them. We'll be ending with Joan and Greg, but Shekinah and Sarper, they tried to leave it on like a cliffhanger on the episode, like so because we know they're together. They're constantly posting, so we know they're
Yeah.
together. So Shekinah is having a client over. So Sarper leaves and he says, "Oh, I have permission to go around the neighborhood. How nice. Part-time homeless. Part-time homeless." So we see him walking. He goes to like a playground, does some pull-ups, and he's like, some of this in LA where they are, the suburban part looks like the southern part of Turkey. And he likes it. He says, like, low buildings, palm trees. And the producer asked him, what do you think about Shekinah? Thinking there's like so much temptation out here for you. And he goes, they cannot tempt me. They cannot, even if they open to their boobs. I just look and then I go. And he says, there's a Turkish phrase that says, they asked to the cock, the animal cock. They asked to the cock if the chicken comes from the eggs. And he says, I don't know. I just fuck and go. So, what? What? Huh? So they asked the male chicken, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And the male chicken says, I don't know. I just fuck and then I leave. Okay. So many Turkish phrases. I hope he's writing a book, like
I'm
we said.
so confused. I thought we were going to finally get an answer to
No,
the
everything
chicken or
is.
the egg. And it's like, I don't care. I'm going to fuck them both.
What? Huh?
I'm going to break a hole in that egg and then
Go to
fuck the
town.
hole.
Yeah.
Or what? Is that my
What?
baby, though? If you're a chicken, is that chicken egg your baby? Are you fucking
No,
your baby? What's
no.
happening?
Do you eat eggs as a vegan?
I'm not a vegan, but I don't really eat eggs or dairy. So I'm like 90% to vegan.
Vegan.
I'm
Okay.
just
Because then
not
you're
100%
vegetarian,
vegan.
but you don't eat eggs. Okay.
I'm a lacto-ovo vegetarian, which
Oh,
means I
God.
do eat eggs and cheese, or eggs and dairy, but I really limit them. So I would
Okay.
say I'm always trying to be better.
Full
But
vegan.
yeah, but the thing, that term vegan is really like off-putting to people. It makes people think you have to be 100% imperfect.
Yeah.
And I think that makes people not even want to try. I think things like meatless Mondays are way better, because even if you make like a little step or just eat like plant-based once a week, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a better step than like trying to convince everyone to go 100% all the time, because no one's
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
That's right.
And cheese
Okay.
is delicious.
Cheese is delicious.
And plant-based cheese, it's not it. It's
No,
gross
no,
sometimes.
I've had it. It's not so great. So okay. He calls his parents, and his parents also are full of Turkish phrases as well. And by the way, when we meet the French guy, he's also full of French phrases. So he calls his parents and he explains that he's out walking in the neighborhood and he goes, yeah, Shekinah, she has a client. She has to work. I have to leave. I have to leave. And they go, oh my God, why wouldn't she tell you this was this terrible thing?
The mom is like almost crying that her poor baby has been kicked out on the street.
He's walking
Like,
around in the beautiful California sunshine. What are you talking
yeah.
about?
She's like, my poor Sarper baby.
Oh God.
Just
So
so cute. They're
now
cute.
we see her client arrive. Her client name is Jessica. Jessica has been told outside, ramp up your personality, tell your worst story, and just say something worse than what really happened. We're going to give you a $200 Amazon gift card. And Jessica says,
Seriously.
yes. Yeah. Or she got this facial for free. Maybe.
The fact that Sarper has to leave so
Yeah.
these women can have privacy, yet there's a camera crew wanting her to talk about hand jobs
Uh-huh.
is quite a
Uh,
different
mhm.
it's muy confuso.
It's movie confusal.
It's ironic.
So Jessica is telling Shekinah all about how she hooked up with this guy in Hawaii or something. And she says, yeah, like I gave him a hand job and my hands were so calloused. And then, I was like, sorry, it
From
probably feels like a
lifting, I think
man
she
from
said.
lifting.
Yeah.
And my hands are calloused. Ah, and then this guy, he had whiskey dick, poor guy. I was like, what?
And she's like making the hand gestures for his peen of like what it was doing and how
Yeah.
it couldn't like go. Oh my
Perform. And
God.
yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
She's like, I would have fucked the chicken or the egg. I don't even care. Just somebody.
Somebody, the calloused hands weren't doing it for him. And she kind of goes, yeah, it's crazy. My clients come in here and they just tell me the craziest thing. I keep all my client secrets except for the ones being recorded for TLC, of course. So, Sarper is telling his parents, we can't even cook at the home. And they're like, what? You're just doing takeout. That's not healthy. And he says, yes, the house is tiny. You can't turn left or right upstairs. It's so uncomfortable. And if I didn't love her, I would not do this. Dad says, okay, you cross the oceans, don't drown in the lake. It's another Turkish phrase. And he tells his parents, I don't know what's going to happen. Don't
What does
rent my
that mean?
place out. So it's to see the forest for the trees, right?
I was
Like,
just gonna say, is
yeah,
it not
yeah,
seeing the forest for the trees? Yeah.
right. You cross the ocean, so now you gump this far across oceans. Don't drown in a tiny lake, you know,
Mhm.
because you didn't drown in
That's
the
nice.
oceans. Yeah. So dad is being supportive, and he's like, "Oh, dad, don't rent my place out." Dad says, "I'm not going to rent your place out. We're going to keep it for you. We're going to, and we're like, we'll get a hazmat crew in there to clean it while he's gone."
Serious sticky.
Sarper says, "I got a lot to think about. I got a lot to think about." So then the next day, he's sitting at her makeup table, and apparently he's using all of her facial products. And she's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, when you put that on and you get those tiny little hairs in my products, now those tiny hairs are in my products." And
Well,
he's
he
just
was
looking at her.
shaving with a face razor, like those
Oh, with like
little
a tingle razor?
it was I don't know what that is, but those little handheld
Yeah,
ra
they're
that
like
you can use on
$2.
your
Yeah,
fuzz and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what he was using, but he was using it on his neck.
No, you use a male razor for that.
Yes.
Um, and so she's like, "You can't use that for my stuff. It's you got your little hairs everywhere." And he's like looking at her like, "Mm." And she goes, "He's using all my stuff, but using it in the wrong places for the wrong he doesn't know what he's doing." And, he's annoyed that she's talking about it. She goes, "It's okay for men to wear makeup," because I think he's, like, highlighting his nose, and she's like, "What are you doing?" She wakes up and it's like a little girl's white desk that you would use for makeup that she's
Yeah.
got up in that tiny bedroom, and he's that giant
Uh-huh.
man is, like, putting highlighter on his nose. Oh my god, it's funny. So, she's like, "It's okay if you wear makeup." He's like, "Oh, quit talking." So, they're getting ready to go out, and she's in quite a get up, but she looks great as always, and she says, I'm worried about I'm so worried about Sarper meeting my friends, but especially Dan." And, in the
Maybe
talking head,
don't invite Dan.
Dan is a French jerk is what he is. And he's cuter than I
Accurate.
remembered. I kinda remembered him not being very cute, but he's cuter than I remembered, but
Agree.
I was watching on the iPad, so maybe I had it wrong, but did
No,
seem
I
to be
mean, he's still not that cute, but he's cuter than I remembered as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, in the talking head, he says, "It's important that I go to this dinner with the friends and make good first impression on the friends, but I do worry about Dan. Do worry." So, they all head out to meet the friends. All the friends are welcoming. "Oh my god, we're so happy to finally meet you," whatever. And what do you think they're
So
thinking? He
nice.
shows up in this like unbuttoned shirt with this Lego hair, and he's like, "How's it going?" And they know
I
that he's
mean,
banged 3,000 chicks or whatever.
they've seen the show.
Yeah.
I think they knew what to expect, but it's one of those, like, where you see someone that looks like that in person, and that you see, like, whatever he's done to his face or whatever, and they hit the Lego hair in person. I think it's
Yes.
a little shocking. Like, you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, wow." Like, it would be like seeing Darcy and Stacy in person. You'd be like, "Oh my
Yes.
god."
It's also like the friend Josh also is shocking with the look.
Josh exactly that worse than Sarper.
Yeah,
Josh,
totally.
is bordering on that cat lady that
Yeah.
was addicted to plastic
Yeah,
surgery.
yeah, yeah. He's gotten some cheek implants or something that's lifted
Mhm.
this up. So, they head out, they meet the friends. The friends are very welcoming, and Dan actually hugs Sarper, and they're all like, "Wow, oh my god, Sarper's here, amazing, amazing." So we meet Josh, Shauna, Dan, and Wendy, and later we meet another girl whose name is down here. Let's see, what's her name? I can't what it doesn't matter. We'll get to her when we get to her. So Dan says,
It's
"Okay, you're here for
It's
3 months?
Sharon, but with an I. Sharon.
Share in." No. So
I
Dan
think
says
that's might be a thing.
Dan says, "You're here for 3 months." And she goes, "No, like, he's not here for 3 months. Like, he's here. He's moved here. Like, we're getting married. This is just the trial period before the wedding, but he's here." And Dan says, "So maybe not. Maybe just for convenience, you'll stay here." And Sarper goes, "No, no, 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 no. Because if she's not in my life, you can't pay me to stay here. America, disgusting. LA, yuck. So ugly." And Sarper says, in the talking head, Sarper goes, "Look, here's the thing. Dan and I are the only ones here that are not American. And Dan is trying to send me this machismo message and step on me. He's trying to poke me with his small words. It's ego clash, but I can't say these words. Oh, what a test."
Uh-huh.
So Dan says, "Yeah, all of Shekinah's boyfriends, I've hated all of them. They've all been losers." And Sarper goes, "Interesting. So the two of you also dated?" And she goes, "Well, we went on dates, but we weren't dating." And she goes, "Come on, Dan. No, we didn't date." And he goes, we did go on dates. We were dating. And she goes, no, not really. And
They had the same fight at one of the tell-alls.
yes. And Sarper goes, so in my country where I come from, if you go on dates with somebody like you do in France, then you have gone on dates and then you're kissing and you're dating. And the talking head, Dan says, we went on dates and it was more than just kissing. It's like, okay. So Dan tells Sarper, here's the thing. I didn't believe in your relationship at all. I thought it was all bullshit, and I've said, I think I would be a better guy for her to be with. And she kind of laughs, goes, oh my God, Dan. And they're all like, what are you talking about, Dan? And they're kind of laughing at Dan in his mesh shirt. They're kind of like,
Mhm.
come on, Dan.
Mhm.
And Sarper says, look, you're not her type. You look like a bad boy, but you are a good boy. And in the talking head, she's like, I'm very surprised that Sarper is keeping his composure here because Dan is like purposely. And I think Sarper's like, you look like bad boy, but you're not. I am ultimate bad boy. I am asshole. I am Sarper. So
Look how
Sarper says,
sticky my apartment is in Turkey.
listen. So Sarper says, there are some boys that are like cat guys and some are like dog guys. And I am like dog guy. And Dan's like, what? And she kind of goes, okay. Like there's some backhanded stabs going on here. It needs to stop. Like Sarper and I, we're together. It's never going to change. We're together. And Sarper says, and if you think otherwise, we're going to have a problem for sure.
Mhm.
And Dan says, you don't want to have a problem with me. And that is for sure. Oui. And Sarper says in a very threatening way with the smile, he goes, really? Really? It was creepy. It was
Yeah.
creepy.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't blink a lot.
No,
So, he has a creepy stare. Yeah.
totally. So in the talking head, Sarper goes, obviously he's trying to interfere. And old Sarper would bounce him and throw him in the air and alley-oop him. And he wants me to do such a thing, but I won't do it. So and I think she slipped him like a Xanax in his drink before they went out.
I think she's a little disappointed he's not causing more of a scene. I think she thinks that that's what a man does, is, like, fight for
Mhm.
his woman, and so she likes a little bit of that.
I think he's trying to impress all the friends and is like, I'm just gonna have to ignore Dan because I want all these
Yeah.
friends to like me. Because when they first got there, Josh was like, I live right down the street. If you ever get bored, or like when she kicks you out, come over to my
Yeah.
pool. So I think Josh is like trying to find a friend and
Totally, very sweet, and also Sarper is like, "A pool. I wanna
yeah,
go hang out at a
yeah,
pool.
yeah.
I better
Her
not
shitty
cause a fight at this
her shitty
restaurant."
place doesn't have a pool.
No.
So Dan says, listen, I don't want you to break her heart. I don't want you to keep collecting the Barbies and put in your closet. She is not a Barbie. You are not a Ken. And Sarper says, she is my Barbie. Yes, she is. And Dan says, she's not a thing. She's not an object. She is your girlfriend. She is your fiance. She might become your wife. And Sarper says, yes, she will. And Dan says, you have to take care of her because she means a lot to me. And Sarper, same smile. He goes, I die for her. I kill for her. You have no authority to protect her or say anything to her. You're a friend. You care for her. I don't know. Maybe you have feelings for her. And Dan goes, okay, if I do, that's my problem. And Harper goes, yes, it is your problem. But then it becomes my problem.
Mm.
And Dan goes, you cannot control my feelings. Croissant. And then Sarper says it's dangerous to poke the bear that much, meaning himself. And that little French baguette is nonstop talking, but he doesn't say baguette. He says a word that sounds like a gay slur for a man.
He
And
said no, to be clear, he says the word baguette, but with
his
in
accent.
the emphasis on the wrong syllable that makes it
Yes,
sound like the other word. Yeah.
the other word. It does. And Dan says, what I will say, and again, he says, oh, as an old Turkish saying, there is no love, only proof of love, as they say. And Sarper says, me being in Los Angeles is the proof. And all the friends are like, he's here. That's the
Yeah.
proof. And
They
Dan
were
says,
sticking up for him.
they
They
were.
really were.
They're like, Dan, this is not how we planned this.
Mm-mm.
And Dan says, if I was doing this, I would say, we are getting married in 90 days. We are getting married. It's not a trial. That's what I would say. And Alexandra is the friend. Alexandra says, He is here. Sarper is here. He's made a huge sacrifice to be here. That's the proof. And Dan says, to me, Sarper, I will tell you, it sounds like you are full of shit and I don't buy it. And Sarper goes, and laughs and goes, you are bullshit with a big smile. And Josh goes, oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked how he's acting. I'm shocked. In the talking head, Dan says, for now, I still consider Sarper is the prince here. He's the prince. I, Dan, am the king. Okay. Okay. Go away, Dan.
He has an awful lot of confidence.
He does. And did we confirm that the two of them banged? Did Dan have sex with
We still have
Shekinah?
never gotten a story because he kind of implied that they did, but she keeps saying they didn't. But she also seems very embarrassed that anything happened.
Yeah. 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 I think that on that tell-all, he was like, say what happened, Shekinah. And she's like, there's nothing to say. Why are you doing this? And he's like, go ahead and admit it. And she's like, I'm not admitting anything.
No, I think she thinks she has a Don, like Jasmine has Dane, who's way hotter, and actually is making people jealous because everyone's like, why would you be with Gino and not Don? And
yeah,
she's kind of going for that vibe, but she has this guy Dan who is not that great.
But I mean, depending if she likes, that type, that Sarper type, then all right.
No,
then that's the guy for you. All right, let's finish it off with Greg and Joan.
Oh boy. So this is where we So Greg, we learned, is not just broke and sweaty and a mama's boy and lacks food preparation hygiene, but he's messy too. He leaves his dirty clothes on the floor in a tiny space, and that he and Joan share in his mother's house.
Yeah.
He's a catch, ladies. So she tells him, this is gross. Pick up your dirty socks, your dirty pants. I don't want to do this for you. And he laughs, and she's like, why do you think I'm joking?
He's like, just leave it. My mom will get it. Just leave it. Just leave it. My mom will come in and get it. Yeah.
I'm used to my mom nagging me and picking up after me. And now I have two ladies nagging me. The solution, stop being disgusting, Greg.
Move out of your mom's house and then you'll only have one lady nagging you.
Exactly. Yeah. So while he is gaming in the middle of the day because he doesn't have a job, Joan goes outside to call her family, and she tells them that Greg is broke and so they can't move out. And the sister, I think it's a sister, says, tell him to get a job. Like it's simple. And Joan's like, if only it were that simple. You don't know Greg.
Yeah.
He wants to live his dream of a bakery. So Joan says she's embarrassed because everyone back in Uganda thinks America is the land of opportunities, and this is not it. And then Joan says, I haven't told Greg about the dowry because I don't know how he's going to afford it. Maybe she can loan him the money to pay for her. So I know. Joan says if he doesn't pay for it, it'll disrespect my family and her father's last wishes, because apparently her father passed away and he wanted her to have a wedding and a dowry and all
15
of that.
cows. Yeah. Yeah.
And be taken care of.
Yeah.
And so she says, if he can't do this, I won't marry him. So then we get more of the chickens. They have chickens in the backyard that I guess are Greg's because the sign says Mr. Gregory's chicken coop. So
I didn't see that sign. Okay.
I thought they were Lucille's, but they're Mr. Gregory's. So
well, he needs the eggs for bread.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So not only is he a pest that is lingering in his mom's house, he has brought 18 chickens with him.
Does he sell the eggs? Like, let's do something to get some money. Let's do something.
Yeah. Something. So he needs like a lemonade stand or something. Like, I don't even know.
Lemonade
so he walks in and says, hey, hi, what's up, mother cluckers, to the chickens? Have you heard what the chicken or the egg? Are you gonna fuck them both? What's up?
Do you know Renee, who lives in New Mexico?
Do you know Renee?
Yeah.
She loves you guys. So they have these 18 chickens. He's like, they're part of the family, not as much as the dogs that are allowed on the couch, but we still love them. And they give me the most delicious eggs. And Joan says, when can we eat one? He's
Oh,
like,
so
"What?"
funny. It was so funny.
And she goes, like, "Can we eat Beatrice, the black one? And can we eat Matilda or whatever, Henrietta?" And, like, he's like, "You're joking, right?" And she's like, "They would be so delicious. You love chicken." And he's like, "I do like chicken, but no, we can't do that." And it was very funny because they are, like, bantering about eating the chickens and,
She
like,
was dead
I
serious. She was like,
she was
"The
serious,
the
but,
reason you
like,
have them here is eventually we eat them, right?
we
Beatrice,
eat
is
them,
she up
right?
first? Right? Yeah.
And he's like, "No, they're just for the eggs."
Yeah.
So then Lucille comes out and she says, "I'm going to work. And can you water the garden while I'm gone?" And Greg is like instantly horny. It's like,
Oh,
"Mom is gone. I
wow.
am aroused." And he
Yes.
says,
Ew,
"It's
ew.
been it's a lot of trouble. We haven't had intimacy because my mom's always here." And he's like, "She's just in general always here. Like if I go to the garage, she suddenly needs something in the garage. If I'm in the kitchen, she suddenly needs to do dishes in the kitchen." And
Mhm.
my parents are the same way. Like I feel that. It's just like you feel like they're always there and it's
Yeah.
like, "Go
Yeah.
away. There can't be that many chores that you
Yeah.
have to do right now when I am in this space."
They just wanna be near
So
you.
yeah. So, I saw a meme that said, "Behind every man is a drawer in the kitchen that I need to get into." And I thought
We have one space in our kitchen, but between the fridge and the island. Okay, with so the island being a square or a rectangle or whatever, there's lots of places around it that you can stand. A pretty
yeah,
big circumference there,
yeah,
but everybody stands between the fridge and the island. So if I'm cooking dinner or doing anything, I'm trying to get thing go at that's the area I need to be. I'm like, "Why can't you stand anywhere else?
so
Anywhere else."
annoying,
Yeah, and then they
so
make fun of
annoying.
me, "Get out of the kitchen." I go, "Yeah, you want dinner? Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here."
So, I'm gonna splash them with some oil or something, and then they'll get out of there real quick.
I'm not gonna do that to Kimberly, that's not nice.
I know, I don't know why I suggested it. I sound like a sociopath. So he says she's just always here, it's super annoying, and the best thing I've ever done is introducing my mom to rideshare delivery during the pandemic. So he signed his mom up as an Uber driver so that she would be out of the house because she was annoying him so much.
Oh, I didn't get that. This is what
Yes.
happens when I only half pay attention. Okay, wow, okay.
So there are people on Long Island who are getting Lucille as their like Uber driver or their Uber delivery, Uber Eats,
Yeah,
DoorDash
yeah,
person. And I
yeah.
thought that was so funny. She's like trying to give him advice and being like, "Hey, how long did you shower? What's a good, does your water bill go up when you shower too long?"
Does your son have
So
a job?
yeah,
Um,
can your son hire my son? Because
you know
my
what that just
son,
reminded me of?
yeah.
I'm going to Chicago on Monday. What if I get Brian as my Uber driver? Remember Brian in the wheelchair?
Is he in
What if
Chicago?
Yes, he's
Oh
an
my god,
Uber
that
driver
would
in
be
Chicago.
so oh my god, that would be so funny.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm manifesting it. Go ahead. Or not.
Give him a piece of my mind
I
if you
will.
do, because
I got a
lots
FaceTime for you.
he is one of the most scummiest people.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay. Oh my gosh,
So,
now I'm scared. Okay, go ahead.
you can always reject the
Yeah,
driver.
I could if it said Brian and it showed his picture.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, no.
So Lucille is driving very happily and she's like, "I think it's going way better than I thought it would with Joan. My son is so happy and he's singing and dancing all the time. It's great to see my son so happy, my Gregory." And she says nothing about Joan specifically, like
Mhm.
that she thinks Joan is nice, but she likes seeing Greg happy.
Yeah,
So
all right.
it's something.
Yeah.
So Greg says, "I don't want to feel like we're on a schedule, like mom is gone. It's bone time. Let's go to Bone Town."
Mhm.
But that's literally what's happening. So she literally leaves and he's like, "My testosterone is built up. It's time to go." So
Ooh,
they
that's a
go
lot.
in the house and it's like, ugh. So then it's an hour later. I was like, good for them.
Good for
Good
them.
for good for
Yeah,
Greg.
thank you, and thank you for
So
turning off your mic packs. Thank you.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
really appreciate that.
yeah.
So then they go outside in their robes Again, it's like the middle of the day. It's
It's
so
like they were
funny.
at a hotel and they were just like, "We're gonna put on these fuzzy robes and walk
Totally.
around the property. We're going to the spa." Yeah, funny.
Then Lucille's gonna come back early and be like, "You're in your robes? Oh my god, did you have sex in my house that
Yes,
I
I
pay
know.
rent for? Was
Awkward.
it in the shower? Is that my water bill?"
Oh, funny.
So there he's watering the garden and she says, "Don't get me wet." And he says, "I just did."
That was rough. That was rough. That was rough to hear. That was rough to witness.
Yeah.
It was.
So she's like, "Hey, I know we just had sex, but when are we gonna move out? I can't do this for 2 years." And he says, "I know, I have to get a job." And she says, "If you don't, I'll go back to Uganda." And he is shocked for some reason.
Uh, right, right. Like she was gonna be okay with this situation, right.
Yeah. So she said, "Seeing your friends, that, John with an H and John
Mhm,
with a not H, and the
mhm,
one that had the Pearl Jam look,
mhm.
I it really opened my eyes because I see that Long Island men in their 30s can be successful, and you are not, and you are the same age as them."
She is no bullshit. She says it like it is, and I like it, and
Absolutely.
that's what he needs. Yes.
That's what he needs because
Yeah.
Lucille doesn't do it,
Mm-mm.
so she babies him. So she's like, "How are your friends successful and you are not? Why don't I go off with John with an H?"
Mhm.
And he says, sh I this he's, like, hurt and shocked by this whole thing, and she says, "You turned down that job when you knew I was coming.
Right.
That is I don't know why you did that." And he goes,
Stupid.
"I know I should have taken the job." And she says, "You don't take life seriously, you joke too much." And he's like, I take it seriously. I take life seriously. What are you talking about?" Which is his defense mechanism, is like
Yeah.
laughing. He gets like the church giggles every time he's confronted on anything.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Every day I'm trying. I'm on the state website and I apply for jobs." It's always about the state job.
But
Like,
he got offered a state job and turned it down.
you
So
got
they're
offered
probably gonna look
one.
at that at your track record and be like, "He turned down that other job, so why are we gonna offer him this one?"
Totally, and your
Mm.
John with an H or without an H said you turned down a bunch of union jobs too. So,
Yes.
like, you just are turning down jobs left and right. So, he is like, I'm trying." And she says, I didn't know that you had applied for jobs." And he says, "I've told you that." And he says, what she doesn't realize is if I had a 9 to 5 job, I wouldn't be able to go and visit her, and our relationship would not be where it is right now, so I deserve credit for that.
Okay.
I guess okay. So she says the dowry, she brings up the dowry. "I talked to my family. The dowry is 15 cows, and
Mhm.
each cow is like 200 US dollars.
Mhm.
And so 3 grand." And he says,
It took
"Who
him
can
longer
afford?"
than it should have to do 15 no, 200 times 15, which is 15 times 2. I mean, it took him longer than it should, and I
It
d
took
can't do
me
math.
longer than it should to
Mm.
confirm that he was right.
15 times 2 is 30, so that's
Well, also,
$3,000.
he
Yeah.
goes, "That's almost $3,000."
No,
It's
15
like,
times
"No,
2 is yeah.
it's exactly 3,000." And it took me so long also to do that
When
math.
you're tired, but you're tired. Yeah,
And then I was like, 15 times 2, and then just add the zeros. Okay, you can do this, Kimberly.
yeah, you could do it. If
I
I could
was
do it, you could do it.
embarrassed for him and then embarrassed for me.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Who can afford 15 cows?" And this is when she hits him with the, "People can afford it. It's just you that can't afford it."
Yikes, yeah, you're gonna need to borrow, 1,500 from John and then 1,500 from
Yeah,
John.
exactly.
Yeah.
So he says, "Why is this all on me, the wedding, like, and the dowry? Why is it all on me that I have to buy the dress and the wedding and all this stuff?" And she goes, "That's my culture. That's how it is." I mean, I guess in American culture, the woman's like dad is supposed to pay. It's so dumb. Like
Right, but also
bride's
but
family
then
pays
it's for
here.
this,
So
and then the men's family pays for the rehearsal dinner and the
right.
honeymoon, and the bride's family pays for
Yeah.
the wedding. And a lot of people just as couples were like, pay for what they can and get help from their parents if they can. It's everybody does it different, but traditionally, I mean, like, my Dave's nephew, recently got married last year, and the two of them paid for the whole wedding themselves.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do that too. So,
Yeah. My brother and his wife did that, paid for most of it themselves because they were sick of the family's input. So they're like,
uh,
if we pay for it ourselves, then they don't get to tell us who we have to invite.
and their opinion on like, I liked the off-white napkins, not the
Uh-huh.
ecru, or the
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
totally. So she's like, this is my culture. It's disrespecting my culture if we don't do this. And my dead father's wishes. Are you gonna break the heart of my dead father? He will
Yeah.
haunt you.
Mm,
And he's like, so if I don't get a job, I mean, should we just not even get married? Like, he's just like, I'm done. I don't even, he's so hurt, I think, and embarrassed that he's just
yeah.
like throwing it back at
That's
her. Like, maybe we shouldn't get married. And he's like, when she said that she would consider leaving and going back to Uganda, that like, that was like to quote Cody, a knife in the kidneys. And
oh, yeah.
he said knife in the heart.
Yeah.
Greg says knife in the heart. And she's like, "You know what? If we don't get married, that means you can't take care of me here, and that means I'm leaving, and you knew that. So, like,
Yes. Yeah.
why are you acting so surprised?"
Mm. All right.
I love Joan. She's
I
a
do
straight
too.
shooter.
I like it. I like her a lot. She's like, "Listen, we just had sex, so now I should be able to woo you with my feminine wiles to tell you,
Mhm.
get a
"Look
job,"
at
and
this
we
sexy robe I'm in next
yes,
to the chickens in
yes,
the garden, and I'm
all of it.
not eating Matilda today."
Not
So
today. Beatrice is next. Um, so next time on, Maddie and Steve. Maddie and Stevie are drinking wine, and he says, "You know, I looked it up, and if we get married sooner, we'll end up saving $2,000." Now, why is that? I don't know. If they don't go the whole
he
90
said
days.
the visa price is about to go up.
Oh,
So there was like a hike in price that he somehow found out about. So he's saying if they get married before the price of the paperwork or whatever is about to go up
for him to like apply for
$2,000.
citizenship and all that after they
Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. He says, I just researched this and we can get married for 2000. We'll save $2,000 if we get married sooner. And she says, rushing the wedding, seems like a red flag. And again, I think this is all BS because I think they're totally fine and they're just trying to
Yeah.
come up with storylines to make them seem like they have conflict when they don't.
Yeah.
Jessica meets with Megan with the eye, and it was like, "Well, I don't want you to like not like my husband on the wedding day." And Megan says, "How? How could you trust him? How could I trust him?" And then Megan says, "And that better
You
be
don't
the
have
only."
to trust him.
And Megan's like, "That better be the only time that incident ever happened, or I'm gonna shake my finger at him." Like, okay, Megan, who cares what you think? Let it go.
She would be a stander-upper at the wedding. I object. He
You're
cheated on
right.
me. I mean, he cheated on Jessica, and it's unacceptable in our relationship. I mean, your relationship.
2 years ago on a
Yeah,
boat. Yes. Um,
and
so
she
Jess,
also emotionally cheated, but we're not talking about that.
yeah. You're right, she is a stander-upper. Um, Jessica meets with Megan and is doing the whole thing, and then Megan's like, "How could you trust him?" And blah, 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 it's the only incident. Shekinah, is going to introduce Sarper to her daughter, Sophie. Shekinah and Sophie are getting her n toes done, and then Sophie goes, "How's this gonna play out if we don't get along?" And Shekinah's like, "Oh, I didn't think about that. I'm gonna ship you back to school so it doesn't matter."
Yeah.
Shawn and Alliya are at a pharmacy and they're walking around and he's because Aliyah doesn't know about all these things that we have. And Shawn says this is it's a home test for HIV. And she's like, "Oh wow." She says, "I didn't know there was such a thing." And she says, "We're gonna have to be careful. We'll have to take these tests because since you want the open relationship," which is a little bit of a poke, right?
Mhm.
And she tells us, "Yeah, the open relationship, I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable with it." And then we see her asking him, "Will you be attracted to me if I continue to change my body?" So this is another thing they're dealing with.
And he
Uh,
won't. I don't think he wants that.
he doesn't want a woman.
He doesn't want a woman.
Um, Mina says, Jordan is a backstabber. And then Jordan says, if Mina wait, okay. Mina says Jordan is a backstabber. And it
Mhm.
seems Jordan asks Mina for an apology for calling her a snake. And it seems like the mom is trying to broker peace between them.
She's
Yes.
totally trying to mediate, but she's
Yeah.
obviously on Jordan's side,
Her
and so, like,
granddaughter. Yeah.
Jordan wants an apology, and Mina's crying. Where's Mina's apology?
Yeah.
Like,
She's like, you need to say you're sorry for calling her a snake. And you know, snake is not a great word. And she was told
no,
not to
but
say it, which
Jordan said
is
stuff
being as
first.
Jordan's being provocative. I agree. They just need to sit down with mom in between them and maybe take Mark out of the picture because he always seems to mess things up and make it worse.
Yeah, maybe the mom can do it.
So the threesome, Matt, Ani, and Amani are having some sort of wine cave dinner. And Matt asked Ani, "Are you going to tell your family that we're a threesome, that we're a throuple before we get there?" And she goes, "No, no, not before we get there." Amani gets all mad and storms off, and Ani's grabbing her. And
"Baby,
uh,
baby, come back, baby.
baby, come back. Don't be mad at me, baby.
Honey." I was like, "Oh god."
And Amani, as she's storming off, says, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife." That's what the fuck is going on here.
Okay, so
She's
was that
calling her
line
girlfriend, "You
a
can't turn a
hoe?
hoe." Uh-huh.
What did she practice that line?
Of
Did she
course.
come up with that line before the show
Of
and
course.
was waiting for the right time to say
Yes.
it?
Yes.
1000%. Is she trying to trademark it and get it on a t-shirt
She
and
can't because
merch?
I've heard that way. I've heard that before. I've heard that many times.
Oh, well, then I feel even more dislike for her.
Yeah, let's see. I'll type it in and see who came up with it. You can't turn a hoe into a
Is it
housewife.
from Bravo?
You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Um,
Ramona.
there's a Dr. Dre song, "Hoe into a Housewife,"
Oh,
and
okay.
here's a Reddit thread. Ask women, no censor. What are your thoughts on the phrase, "You can't turn a hoe into a housewife"?
Okay.
Um, okay. Some answers. Yeah, okay. I don't know where it came from, but it's from a Dr. Dre song, and Dr. Dre keeps popping up. Okay.
Okay.
So Dr. Dre, we give you all the credit. So
Yeah.
that is it for this week. Next week, apparently we're getting Matt and Amani back and Stevie and Maddie back, which is good for me, bad for you, bad for me, good for you, depending on who's taking the notes. And we'll have to figure out when we're going to record since I'm going to be traveling, but that's a next week problem, is what it
Yeah.
is.
No, we're gonna
So you're
you know what? We're going one day at a time, much like Jordan and Mina's relationship.
That's right. And, so you guys are doing the latest Dateline on your show, but you're not doing your YouTube Yellow Jackets coverage because too much has been going on with, you guys, and you haven't had time to schedule that.
We are not doing the regular Dateline because Dateline wasn't on Friday. We are doing the Hulu documentary Little Miss Innocent, which is a continuation, a companion piece to last week's episode. Poison Trusted Poison
Okay.
something.
Okay.
Poison whatever it was called. Twist, Poison
Poison
Twist.
twist,
And
because I
so
said it was like a
this
lemon twist. Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is the same case of the poison chiropractor, Mary Yoder, and
Okay.
Little Miss Innocent was a Hulu documentary that we were hoping would fully cement our feelings on this, and
Uh-huh.
we still can't figure out
Oh,
what
dang it.
happened.
Well, maybe I need
Yeah,
to investigate.
I think
Um,
we might need your opinion on this. Yeah.
okay. All right. I'm always happy to throw my opinion in. And
Mhm.
everybody, just remember, Kimberly and I are covering the Baldwins over on Pink Shade Prime. That is on the $10 level. Over there, you also get ad-free episodes. You got Temptation Island. You got Love is Blind. There's all sorts of stuff over there coming up soon. Over there will be The Valley. That'll start mid-April because I need to add one more show to my list in addition to everything else I'm doing. But I'm very excited about The Valley. Very. And so Thursday, you'll get 2 free episodes of The Baldwins. So you'll get a little taste of it and you'll love it so much. You'll want to come right over and subscribe. That's what I think is going to happen.
How you
So
say muy excited.
This week on The Baldwins, episode 6 is Alec Baldwin doing a lot of making fun of her accent, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
now I can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited.
There's a lot of discussion of Ricky Martin on this episode
Oh,
and
okay.
poop on the rug. Poop on the rug, lots of dogs pooping on
Can't wait.
rugs. Yeah.
I love it.
That's it, everybody. Follow Kimberly and Katie over at Dateline. Follow me on Instagram at Pink Shade Pod, and we'll be right here next week to talk about 90 Day. Bye.
Bye.